Ciao, jewelry makers. My name is Joey Balistreri, for those of you who don't know me, and I am making a friendship gift today, and I decided to film it because I have had so many requests for what I'm going to use in today's project. And what gave me the idea were some of these vintage sewing things, as well as the fact that this is a very dear friend and she has asked me for earrings, but basically she doesn't wear a lot of jewelry, and I have made bookmarkers for her and purse charms and other things, but I wanted to do a gift that was not jewelry. So I don't know if you recognize any of the things that are here, but this little set is vintage. It's from a shop, a British shop called Westminster Lace, and I've had this little set since I was a teenager. This is a little handmade doll, and under her skirt is a tape measure, and it's got a little button to retract it, and she's just lovely. And then this is a scissor sachet. So this is my thread scissor. Let me try that again. My thread scissor that I use when I'm doing silk ribbon embroidery, or if I'm doing any type of bead weaving, a bracelet, a beaded bead. And this little clown is all handmade. His little face is hand painted, and he has lavender in his legs. And so this one is a vintage little thread scissor, and I have no idea how old this is. It could be turn of the century, it could be 1920s. It is silk, and it has this little cord. It just has an attachment with a lark's head knot and a little vintage tassel on the end. And so these are the things that gave me the idea to do this gift for my friend. And then this is just a little lavender sachet that I made. It's like a little miniature bolster or neck roll that back in the days of my model homes and decorating houses, I did a lot of those with coordinating fabrics to bedding. And so I made a little tiny one filled with lavender so that my threads and my things in my sewing box have this lovely scent. So these are the things that gave me the idea. Let me clear my table away and show you what I had been. People have reached out to me so much. I mean, almost a dozen people in the last few months. People had reached out to me because I did do a video on making your own boho beads. And I also did a video on making your own beaded beads. And this is a very small scaled down pattern. Some beaded beads can be quite large. And you know, some of the boho beads and even the beaded beads are quite large. And so I have had several of you reach out to me, quite a few actually, saying, oh, I love those beads and they look like they're so much fun to make, but then what do I do with them? And so I use them for bookmarkers, and I showed you some of my bookmarkers in the video, but there are other things that you can do. And my first project I'm going to share with you is to make a vintage inspired scissor sachet. So I bought this little pair of Singer thread scissors for my friend, and I loved it because it has this boho jewel tone with the blue and the hot pink and the purple and a little bit of black like printed on the handle. And so I'm going to cut this out of the package and make a little boho scissor sachet for my friend, and she's going to get a new pair of scissors because she sews beautifully and she's quite incredible, and I have had so much of her support. She has been my village with my son's care. She's one of his medical people, and even with my YouTube channel. And you guys have probably, if you take any time to read the comments, you will have noticed there is a person named Dale who comments under every single video, a little heart, something positive. I have her support, and she is telling the YouTube algorithm that she loves my channel, and I appreciate her so much. So I definitely have to make sure that I give her the gift before I post this video because she watches all of my videos. And so what I did is chose a little piece of this purple satin cording that I use when I make my bookmarkers. And I went through my boho beads that I have made, and I chose one that I thought matched the handle of the scissors with the blue and the dark pink, and there's a little bit of really dark purple in the Sari Silk fabric. I think this, I don't know if this is Sari Silk, it might even be cotton fabric that I shredded, but this matches my scissors really well. And I happen to know that my friend loves amethyst because she asked me for a pair of amethyst earrings. So I have one of these little glass ball charms that is filled with amethyst crystals. And then you've seen this bead if you watch the beaded bead video. I created this little pearl and crystal bead, and I want to add that in, and then I have a little selection of the other things I plan to use. And this is a very quick project, and so again, the reason I wanted to share it is because so many of you reached out to me about what to do with these boho beads. As gorgeous as they are, what do you do with them? And then also, this is a fast project if you need a gift for a friend, if you're invited to some kind of a gathering and you need a gift. So I'm going to take a 20 gauge piece of wire, and I will start by, oh, you know what, before I do that, let me go ahead and put the cord ends on this because I use the Loctite gel super glue. Let me just reach behind me. And this is the glue that I like to use for those cord ends. It is truly ultra control, as it says. And so what I have is I wish I could tell you the size of this, but it is a fairly large cord end, and I don't even know the millimeter of my satin cord. I'm so sorry because I know some of you really like specifics, but I literally just went into my supplies to do this little gift for my friend. And I'm just going to take this gel control. I love this glue. It has these little buttons, if you will, on the side, and you can get a little drop of the glue coming out and really direct it right where you want it to go without getting glue all over everything. And because it's gel, you have a little bit of time for it to set up. This bottle is down to the end, so I'm having to work a little bit. And then what I'm going to do is just match up my two cord ends and get them both inside this one cord end. And I am going to get something to help me because if I need it, sometimes a little twist will get that down there, and it did. Let me grab a scrap of wire. It did, but can you see I have a little bit of glue coming out, so let me get that off of there without getting it on my fingers. And you just want to make sure that it's in there really well. And let's see, just make sure that your little part where you're going to add your jump ring is going in the direction you want. That's the other thing I love about the gel super glue is it gives you a couple minutes to make adjustments and move things. So that little piece of the scissor sachet is done, and I can just set that aside and let it set and dry. And now I'm going to make this little component. And so what I think I'm going to do, this is a little glass ball is going to be my final drop. And I think I'm going to put the big boho bead in the middle and put this one at the top. And so let's start. I need pliers, not those. I need bent chain nose pliers and regular chain nose pliers. And so I'm just going to come down, and I like to do wire wrapped loops. You honestly, on this, you could do a simple loop, but with a scissor sachet, sometimes they are used to hang the scissors on a hook. It's a really nice little gift for a person that does any craft, because who of us that does jewelry or sewing or paper crafting or any type of a craft, who of us does not need a pair of scissors. So I bought a fairly small pair of scissors for my friend, but you could do a beautiful colorful pair of scissors like this if your friend is a paper crafter, or if she does something else where she requires something other than sewing scissors. Even, you know, even jewelry makers, we always need a pair of scissors. So you could choose a really beautiful patterned pair of scissors and use the really large, you know, a really large boho bead to make a scissor sachet and make it a bit longer. And so that way you can use the scissor sachet, which in my case it's going to not be a sachet, but you can hang up, you have a place that you can hang up your scissors and not lose them. And, you know, as a friend who, when she's working, she will think of you. Something so sweet and so beautiful. And so anyway, I just thought this was a great idea, and I know that I try to make gifts and give gifts that I would love to receive myself, and my little sewing things make me so happy, and I have had them since I was a teenager. So I just thought this would be a unique gift, an easy gift, inexpensive, and really useful, and something that a person would have for a really long time. So got my simple loop going, and I am going to, oh, I wanted to add some beads before I string that on. So I wanted to sort of include some of the beads that were in this beaded bead. So I pulled out a couple of these crystals, and I also pulled out a couple of purple pearls because I have the amethyst crystals here and the amethyst colored satin wire. So I think that, let's see, I think I'll start with a crystal and then add a purple pearl, if I can hold on to it. It slipped right out of my hand. And then my boho bead. Yeah, I really like that. Again, I'm trying to match the colors, the bright gemstone colors that are in the scissors, and also make the whole little thing really colorful. So I'm going to repeat the same thing on this side. And another one of the little crystals that was in this bead. And that is so pretty. And then just do another wire wrapped loop. Now you can connect the loops if you, as you go, before you wrap the loop down, but I think that I'm going to connect these components with jump rings, because as time goes on, I know my friend, and she may say, oh, I love my scissor embellishment, but it needs a refresher, it needs an update, and I will do that for her. So if I use the jump rings, then I can change around components if something gets worn out or damaged through use. Just trying to think ahead a little bit. That is such a pretty component. Adding some crystals and pearls to an already really intricate bead just makes it just stunning. Just adds a little something. Where's my little tail? There it is. So that is a crystal at the top. So I want to be really careful to tuck that wire in without stressing that crystal. That is just lovely. And so let's get some jump rings and connect this. Needs to open a little bit more. Connect this to this. Make sure it's closed really well. And then another. Now the crystal, the little crystal ball, gets attached at this end. My fingernail is in the way. Get a hold of it. That little ball, a little tricky to attach. that I got it in the right, just have to get it in the right position so that I can get a hold of my jump ring. Close it really well. And now this should be dry and ready for us. It is. So another jump ring will go through the little loop on the end of this cord end. And then through my loop that I made on my beaded bead. So beautiful, that little scissor sachet. So let me put the lid back on my glue, and I am going to open this package in a really gentle way so that I can show her it's a new pair of scissors. Let me see how I can do this. Maybe if I just remove the bottom of the package. So you see what I mean? No matter what our crafting friends do, no matter what their craft, whether it's jewelry or paper crafting, we all reach for scissors constantly. So, and you know, it seems to be it's sort of utilitarian. So it seems to be one of the last things that we think of to replace when we need it replaced. And even a lot of scissors, they look terrible. They don't, you know, have this beautiful design or print on them. So all I'm going to do is make a lark's head loop, just like if you saw this vintage one. Show you one more time before I loop it. This vintage one was done that way, and my little British little clown, when they hand sewed his little outfit, the ribbon was sewn in, but then it's just a little lark's head loop on the handle of my scissors. And so I'm going to do that same thing where you just pull everything through the loop and then pull it tight. And that is just so sweet. What a sweet gift, and unexpected and useful, and I am just really, really excited. So I will put some pictures of this up and make sure that I have gifted this to my sweet friend before I put this video up. I don't know if how I'm going to do it. I usually put gifts in an organza bag, but I may slip these back into the package with my little boho thing hanging out. And I just think it's a really sweet thing and a great idea. And so I hope that maybe it solved a girlfriend gift for some of you and gave you some ideas of things you can do with these beautiful boho beads. And I have another idea, so I have a future video on something else we can do with these beautiful beads, or our larger seed beads. And I'm going to link below this video the beaded bead video that I did and the boho bead video that I did, in case you didn't see it and you're interested in making some of these on your own. I really appreciate you watching, and I hope you're all having fun on your beading mats. Ciao, jewelry makers.